Hey guys, my name's Ashwin Gore. I've been an accent coach for 10 years and I offer a full, comprehensive course to help you master the American accent, which is linked down below. Today, I'll be giving you guys a few tips to help you perfect your American accent. If you have a natural Indian accent and you want to convert it to an American accent, this is the video to watch because in this lesson I'm going to go through 2 vital techniques needed to convert that Indian accent into an American accent. The first technique we're going to talk about is the O to R shift. Now, the O to R shift can be applied to many foreign accents in order to convert them to American, but it is really important for the Indian accent to pay attention to the O to R shift. So, what is it? The O to R shift basically means that in foreign accents, especially the Indian accent, there is a strong O sound. This O sound doesn't exist in the American accent, so we need to convert it to an AH sound, which is an R. The O sound often occurs in words that have an A, AU, OW, AL, and O. So that O sound we're now going to convert to an R. Here's an example. A word like job. In an Indian accent, it would come forward and be job. The American accent is going to make it job, J-A-H-B. A word like, let's say, politician. An Indian accent is going to go politician. That O sound comes really far forward. So let's convert that O into an R. So instead of politician, it's going to become politician. Let's try another one. A word like water. In an Indian accent, that's going to come out as water. Right? That O sound in wa has to become an R. So for example, it's going to become water, W-A-H-T-E-R. And remember, of course, to get that ER sound at the end, water. So I'm going to convert a few O to R shift words from the Indian accent to the American accent to give you an idea of how this technique works. Shot becomes shot. Faucet becomes faucet. Chronic becomes chronic. Alcohol becomes alcohol. Waterfall becomes waterfall. That's a double one. The AH is in water and it's also in fall. So waterfall becomes waterfall. Call becomes call. Really important to get that one because otherwise if you say I'll call him, it might become a little convoluted for the American listener, so you want to say I'll call him. Long becomes long. Australia becomes Australia. Pawn shop becomes pawn shop. So that's the O to R technique. What you can do in order to practice this is if you find a text, just put a little AH above any O to R word, remembering they can appear on an O, an AU, an AL, an AW, sometimes even an A, like in water. So put a little AH above that to remind you that you need to convert the O into an R sound. Let's move on to the next technique, which is the OR sound. In the Indian accent, often the OR sound that is really strong in an American accent is completely dropped. So we really want to make sure that we have a nice strong OR sound. Now, the OR sound happens from the back of the neck. You can't make that in the Indian resonant position, which is forward in the mouth. I could try it, it'll sound like this. OR. Doesn't work, right? Because you don't want to roll the tongue. You don't want it to be OR, you need it to be OR. Now, where does this sound appear? Generally, anytime there's an OR in a word. For example, a word like north, an Indian accent would drop it completely and say north, right? So we don't want to go north, we want the American version, which is north. Even a word like simply or, the Indian accent will say this or that. Instead of this or that, we need it to be this or that. Let's try another word. Instead of paw, it's going to be pour. Instead of spot, which sounds like spot, it's going to be sport. So in that word, you need to get the or sound. Otherwise, it sounds like you're saying spot instead of sport. Now let's say you have a strong or sound in your Indian accent. What I bet you're doing is rolling the R a little too much. For example, you might say, pour the glass of wine, right? You really stress that R sound in the R. Pour the glass of wine. Now that isn't technically an or sound because you're not getting that nice strong or from the back of the neck. The difference is pour versus pour. So it's really important to distinguish those two sounds. Otherwise, If your whole accent is perfect and that one little sound comes out of por, that's going to give you away. So you want to make sure that or is coming from the back of the neck nice and strong. If you kind of question, what is it like to speak from the back of the neck? The easiest thing to do is put your neck back slightly, just tuck it in this position. And what you'll notice in that position is you can't speak from anywhere but the back of the neck. If I try to speak from an Indian accent, I literally can't, right? So the only place to speak from is the back, which is an American resonant position. So that's the best way to test back of the neck. What you can also do is you can lay on the floor. Gravity will literally push your voice to the back, and that'll help you establish a nice, strong back of the neck sound, which will give you the or. So remember, pay attention to the o to ah shift and also to the or sound. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully those tips put you on the path to achieving a perfect American accent. For more tips and advice, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and for the full course on mastering the American accent, click the link below and check the description for a coupon code.